Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Pascal. Good morning, honorable members. Can you hear me well?
Very well.
Very well. Good. So thank you. I'm glad to have this opportunity to exchange views with the ENVI committee once again on a very important part of our commission program, which is the vaccine strategy presented last week. Of course, we have had the opportunity to discuss over the last few months several times our response to the COVID-19 pandemic. At this point in time, we are moving forward, but still very vigilant and looking very closely at how we can continue to manage this challenge. We have often said together that as long as there is no vaccine, nobody is safe. The virus is still circulating amongst us. And this is the reason that the Commission has the priority to move forward with the vaccine strategy that was presented last week. As you, I'm sure, know, vaccine development is an extremely complicated process. And it is clear that a joint EU way is the most efficient way possible. You had asked for an EU vaccine strategy, and I want to thank you for your support. Now, with this goal in mind, last Wednesday, the European Commission presented a vaccine strategy to accelerate the development, the manufacture, and the deployment of vaccines against COVID-19. I'm glad to confirm that all 27 member states have expressed their support for this vaccine strategy and are currently working together in this common EU approach. I'll just highlight some of the main principles. The first of all, one of the issues that we had to address was the need to have swift action at the EU level. This was the only way that we could guarantee member states to have eventual access to a vaccine. Secondly, we needed to maximize the chances of having a successful vaccine as quickly as possible and at the production scale needed. This meant that investments in vaccine development and manufacturing needed to be made much earlier than usual. And this implies considerably more risk for vaccine developers and manufacturers for this to take place. We have discussed with vaccine producers and member states to understand these challenges and to develop the most effective solutions. Our strategy proposes a centralized EU approach to secure vaccine supplies. It includes support to vaccine producers to help increase their overall capacity and speed. This approach also significantly increases solidarity and ensures solidarity between member states, avoiding competition while reinforcing the EU vaccines production capacity. It does this by enabling member states to purchase via single procurement action. And of course, it will also offer vaccine producers a much simplified process, which will be more efficient and less costly for all. Under our proposal, the Commission will be negotiating advanced purchase agreements with vaccine producers, giving member states the right to buy a successful vaccine. Payments under these agreements will be financed by the ESI, the Emergency Support Instrument, which would contribute to de-risking the necessary investments in vaccine development and manufacturing. We have now more than €2 billion in the instrument and stand ready to commit a significant proportion of these funds. Where a vaccine is successfully produced, the risk capital should serve as a down payment on the vaccines actually purchased by member states. This will ensure access for EU citizens and ensure that we are in a way reimbursed for our investment. I can assure you that it is our full intention for this whole process to remain as flexible, as transparent, and as inclusive as possible. The Commission proposals means that contracts could be agreed with manufacturers within a matter of weeks. Now, given that some of the vaccines are already under development, which are under development, are based on genetically modified viruses, the Commission has also proposed temporary derogations from a provision of the GMO legislation. If adopted by the Parliament and the Council, this means that clinical trials with vaccines and treatments against COVID-19 could start as soon as possible. And it would also clarify the rules for the exceptional use of medicinal products prior to marketing authorization under national early access schemes or in emergency circumstances. We are prioritizing the public health dimension in the developmental phase of vaccines and regulatory processes so that they are flexible but robust. However, let me be very clear that this flexibility does not mean that the standards for vaccine quality, safety, and efficacy are compromised or put into question. Environmental risk assessments will still be required as part of the national marketing authorizing process. I want here to emphasize really very clearly that the proposed regulation is limited in both scope and time. It will only cover medicines intended to treat or prevent COVID-19, and only while COVID-19 is still classified as a public health emergency. Honourable members, we have said often that no one is safe from COVID-19 until we are all safe from COVID-19, and this is why this initiative cannot be only about the EU. The EU is mobilizing resources through its international pledging and joining forces with countries and global health organizations to promote universal testing, treatment, and vaccination. The Coronavirus Global Response Initiative has so far raised close to 10 billion euro, and we have the Global Pledging Summit ending on the 27th of June. I encourage you to all give this initiative your full backing. As we have said often, solidarity and science offer the most permanent guide and path out of this pandemic. When collaborating and coordinating, we dramatically increase our chances of securing a safe and effective vaccine as early as possible and on the scale that is needed. When pulled together, we have significant leverage, allowing us to secure better conditions. And our EU budget is a powerful tool, and we intend to fully mobilize it. Of course, we are aware that there is a risk here, but I think we think that the cost of doing nothing would be far greater for both citizens and economies. If we act decisively, we can ensure rapid and fair and equitable access for all throughout the EU and across the globe. And this is the EU at its best. So I'm calling to you to give this strategy the full support and to the proposed temporary derogation to the GMO legislation. We need to join forces to end this crisis, and I will be available to keep the ENVI committee updated throughout of how we're going to be moving forward, both in terms of the negotiations and where we are. I think it is important that you are informed and that we work together in full transparency. But it is also extremely important that we don't waste time and we move very quickly. Thank you for the opportunity.